Y'all still speaking? Good, because I've been holding this in all week. Hey, y'all. Hope y'all having a good morning, noon, or night whenever y'all listening to this. It's your girl. You already know who it is. I low-key kind of start mixing my YouTube intro and my this intro because I kind of like my YouTube intro. But more so recently, y'all, I've been getting better with recording and editing. I'm low-key telling the story because the way I probably recorded this maybe like 3-4 times because I didn't realize that it wasn't recording. Yeah, low-key about to cry. And I'll be like, I'm kidding y'all, I'll be halfway through the segment because I kind of got to give you backstory for kind of what I want to talk about today. But more so, I think originally I do have a structure for how I do these episodes. And in the first episode was pretty much me kind of expressing to y'all like who I am, what I'm doing, how I'm leading this. But it's pretty much a yapping session for me. I just like to talk. I'm not gonna hurt you. Guilty. But I was gonna originally talk about overthinking, but I'll talk about that in episode 3. But it is episode 2. I know that's right. In this episode, we are gonna talk about, kind of, I don't want to say enabling kids to be in kids spaces while also having adult reprimanded behavior. But I feel like there is an issue of that in a lot of the community. In a lot of communities. And I feel like that is an important issue. And so the reason I bring this up, and just to give you a background of kind of like the picture that I'm painting, because of course we are listening to this, is, okay, I was watching this YouTuber. His name's Nobly. He is kind of like a commentator type YouTuber. I watch him, Omizi Cameron. And I really like to watch this type of YouTube videos, not because I'm tuned into the content creator spirit. I am aware of it, but it is more so like I like to listen to other people's perspectives and, give my own perspective. I'm not really a debater, but I do dibble dabble in that, dibble in that little hemisphere. But the reason I bring this up is that MrBeast had a video that he just put out to all 50 live streamers, and they were doing this like little gaming competition thing. So these are 50 live streamers, and if you don't know what live streaming it is pretty much platforms like Twitch, YouTube that we are typically aware of, and like even Facebook and TikTok. They allow you to live stream, which pretty much means that you are, recording yourself to a live audience in that moment, and there's people that are wanting to watch you in live, like as you are right now. So they live streamed it, and they also recorded it, like studio recorded it. So there is differences within the video versus the live stream. But they had a bunch of streamers from all over the world come and participate in these activities. Spanish-speaking streamers, French-speaking streamers, other language-speaking streamers, and, of course, American-speaking streamers. So there's been a lot of controversy, per se, because there's this kid. His name is Rakai, because he is a kid. He's 17. He's a young gentleman, African-American young gentleman, who's been on the radar a lot for a lot of controversy and a lot of, things that a lot of people would consider like he's not doing right or he's doing a lot. And I do agree there are certain circumstances that I do feel like he does too much, but more so from a perspective of outlooking and just observing him. And I don't really watch him. I'm not his demographic. I'm not his audience. He very much does give, annoying little brother. As somebody who is an older sibling, like y'all can call me out all y'all want. I don't give a flying flipper. There's a difference between older siblings and younger siblings. I love my younger siblings to death. Put that on everything. I love them. But there is a there's a difference between a younger sibling and an older sibling. And he does very much give, younger sibling who knows how to pick her buttons, who's nitpicking, and who wants to see you like kind of get mad. Like that's just the personality that he does have. And it's, of course, quote unquote, seemingly personified because he's now on an online space. And there's a difference between being an online sibling online versus being like an annoying sibling and an online sibling in real life. Like there really is a difference because once you open up the hemisphere for being online, it allows people to judge you in any shape, way, or form, which is really fudged up. But I feel like that's what a lot of people really don't realize, the jeopardizing situation of being on the internet and being mindful and learning to be mindful on the internet. So the reason his name is Rakai, and to put in perspective, he is quote unquote like Kai Cenat, if you know who that is. He's also a very top name live streamer. He's considered his fledgling. They both been on the internet since very young, and I guess I'm just assuming this. Kai Cenat didn't really go into too much detail, but he's pretty much kind of took him under his wing as well as like other people, and they have this like little group under that is associated with Kai called the Clover Boys. A bunch of boys that Kai is cool with / interacted with, or you see him, you see them type thing. So we're like, they have their own little group. Well, Rakai is one of the people who went to this little MrBeast thing. Probably one of the youngest people there. I think he was one of the young people there. I think the second youngest was maybe Yana. I think they're like a year or two apart. Not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But there were young people in the space, as well as maybe older people, quote unquote older people. Can we stop calling people aunts and uncles? Y'all literally turn that age, but that is a whole nother story. There's a whole nother story. But I bring that up to say, like, he's been in a lot of more forward facing, quote unquote, controversy of this situation, because they were saying that he was being unfair and da da da. If y'all have seen some first graders and some elementary kids play some dodgeball, oh, it get murky and muddy over there. Like, they do not be playing. Like, they be out for blood, for real. Because I've been that first grader. I've been that elementary kid. Oh, yeah, you're not winning. You reaching for that ball. Oh, yeah, we're gonna get you right while you down. Like, it does get serious. And he's just an overly competitive person. That's, like, he's trying to play the game. A lot of people want to play the game to play the game. Like, some people just aren't naturally competitive. And he's just one of those people that is. So that does play into his personality and the factors of how he acts. So the reason I bring this up, because there's two situations. One of just blatant racism of him and the top four. He was one of the top four finalists in the challenge. Well, before that, they had a dodgeball tournament. There was a Spanish speaking creator, live streamer. I think they was calling him Abraham in the video. I'll put the links in the video just so y'all are aware of what went down on that good stuff. Well, because of that, they were playing a game to like visualize. And I don't know if y'all have seen those little clippets or those videos where like somebody will be blindfolded and they'll be having those squeaky chicken feet under their feet, and like they'll try to go around and walk around to not get hit, and then the person blindfolded tries to listen for them and like slaps them or hits them with like pillows and stuff like that. Same concept, it's just a difference. It was dodgeball. So Rakai was testing the waters. He started moving a lot, like wanting to play with the person who was throwing dodgeballs. And what he ended up doing is he used one of the Spanish speaking streamers, and he used him as like basically a shield and was holding him to where like he ended up getting, the Spanish speaking streamer ended up getting out because he was getting held by the dodgeball. Like the shoes of course were going around. So the man or the person who was throwing the dodgeball was like, okay, I can hear y'all in this particular area, and got the dude out. So I didn't like him for that. And then there is another situation of Spanish speaking streamers. One, his name was Rubius, I think it is. I don't know too many Spanish speaking streamers in terms of of course, in the American demographic. Of course, you will see your quote unquote American demographic based off the country that you live in. So of course, Spanish speaking streamers are seeing a certain demographic because they're pushing these people because they're from, the same place. That's how regions and demographics and getting your IP address, that's how it really works in order to find your targeted ads and audience. That's how they use that stuff. So I'm of course not familiar with them. I did look them up. They do play, fun games. I mean, they seem very interactive. There's nothing against them. I just don't know them too familiar. But Ruby is his name. He's a Spanish speaking streamer. He was one of the final fours. So a lot of people were harping on the other three contestants because the other three are African American descent. You have Rakai, the younger boy that I was mentioning earlier, Your Age, another live streamer from Florida, and Ski Master Slump God, which is a rapper / he's dabbling into the live streaming space as well because it does, got some money to it. So a lot of people were saying they were getting up on him, and they were trying to get him out. It's one of those things of like, you partner with people that you know because you know them, and it's gonna be easier for you to do that because you're aware of these people. So if you can team up and get somebody out, because you need to get at least one person out. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get the easy person out, because then it's just gonna be between us, and we know we're aware of them. It had nothing to do against them. They just didn't know him, so of course they're gonna get the person they don't know out as a team, and then focus on themselves. That's just how to play the game. And I don't really understand why a lot of people were hating on how people was playing the game. There was no rules, no regulations. MrBeast didn't say, oh, you can do this, you can do that. So a lot of the things that they did in the game, they did it with like y'all hate him, but basically the whole objective of this is they were literally getting $1 million for their chat to spend it for their viewers. Like, they were doing this for the support of the people who have been supporting them to get to the position of being there. And I think that's really cool. But the idea of being mad of how people play the game, y'all don't know what y'all be doing for $1 million. I will be doing some crazy stuff. Now, All right. Let's not be too crazy. But I would do some very, you know, hated things like, oh, I'm a, you know, some people be gloating and stuff like that. That's just people personality. That's not my personality. But some people will be doing it, and for people to say, oh, I would never do that for $1 million. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You can sit here and tell a story to my face all you want, but I can look you dead in the eyes and know that you are lying. You're lying. Okay. Anyways, in this economy, yeah, you're lying for real. For real. For real. So because of that, there's been a lot of controversy of that entire video as a whole. And if y'all want to watch it, of course, it just recently came out. But like I said, I was watching Novely, who he had talked about the previous situation of them being racist to Rakai, because a lot of people were kind of more so harping on him because he was in both scenarios, quote unquote, where he done something to where they didn't like, where he was playing fair. And of course, it didn't seem like, if you want to call it fair, I mean, there was no rules, so he wasn't playing unfair. But of course, when it comes to sportsmanship and all that stuff, yeah, it is a little unfair, quote unquote. So because of that, there has been a lot of racist remarks in Twitter comments, and I do not have Twitter no more. I'm so glad I got rid of that. But they've been a lot of racist remarks and comments towards Rakai for what he did. And there is no shape, way, or form where racism should be included in the conversation. I don't care if he called your granny a flying flipper, but squeak, 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 squeak. Yeah, there should not be no racism, because that just means that you were already racist. And the fact that he did something over a game, over a game, oh yeah. Y'all say some nasty things if it wasn't, like, if it was anything worse than that. Because why is racism your first thought? You were already racist. I don't care. You can call it spade a spade. There is so much racism in every country in this entire world. The worst kind is like, oh, there is no racism yet. Y'all are, oh, I know it get real racist over there. I know it get real racist over there because there's no racism. Oh, okay. This is not a safe space for y'all. Racist, this is not a safe space for y'all. I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to be honest. But because of that, I feel like there's a lot of conversations to be had out of this situation. One, more so, I don't see a lot of people getting flack towards Rubius and Abraham for their communities being racist. I just gotta call a spade a spade. As somebody who is of Hispanic origin and of African American origin, there's racism everywhere, but there's for sure colorism. In this particular case, the Final Four, the Spanish-speaking speaker was of lighter, paler skin versus the three were of more chocolate or caramel skin. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we do have to call things for what they are when they are put under certain lights. I'm just gonna call it. Like, y'all are creating spaces that shouldn't even be created because of why? Because your streamer didn't get it? Like, and the reason why I bring up the creators, why aren't y'all calling your audience out on the racism? Nobody is gonna, like, in as a content creator space, nobody is gonna want to collab with you if you cannot have a space that allows people to be okay with being different than you, because that means your audience is more terrible towards feedback and all that good stuff. And why would anybody want death threats? No, I'm telling you, I've seen tweets of them AI generating the thumbnail. And if you don't know what a thumbnail is, I mean, because not everybody is familiar with terminology and all that stuff. The thumbnail is pretty much the video that you see before you click the video to kind of get you interested in the video. They made that video of their faces where they had it. They changed the African American people into monkeys. Let that sink in. Y'all have changed the black people's, like, at the end of the day, it's black versus not black people's faces into monkeys with AI generation. There is a lot of tools that AI has done, but it's done more harm than it's good. There's not rules and regulations enough to secure and protect people and their well-being on this internet hemisphere, truly. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like the creators, y'all should be calling out your communities, because why would y'all, like, if y'all are allowing them, they're gonna think it's okay. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm not saying you have to blame the creators, but I am saying that you need to, as a creator, you need to say, hey, if this was you or anybody else in this position, you would want somebody who, like, the communities for which that they belong to be like, hey, y'all need to stop doing that. That's like bare minimum, but that's just my personal opinion on that. The reason I bring this up and all this stuff, because this is one situation where the Rakai young gentleman has, been receiving a lot of hate. And then there was another situation with another streamer. Her name is Maury. This is kind of like a guy versus girl situation to, like, female versus male situation. These are both two young adults who have grew up in the young hemisphere. Well, Mari is a young adult. Rakai isn't a young adult, but he is 17. So in my perspective, it's one of those things like, okay, if he was trial for anything, he would be either to juvie, or they really be pushing him to go to jail between whether or not he's 16, he's 16, 17, or he is 17 going on 18. You get what I'm saying? So that's why, like, he of course is not a young adult. He's a kid. He's a minor. But he's very close to being a young adult. You know what I'm saying? So I do, like, put him very near, because they both grew up as young kids, young minors in the internet hemisphere. Quick background about her is she pretty much grew up doing moderation. So pretty much moderation just means that you are in charge of watching the audience for some of these live streamers, and that's how she kind of grew up, and she's familiar with some of these live streamers just, from doing that. It's just pretty much just watching the chat, making sure nobody does anything they're not supposed to do. That's all. The short name for it's mods, but it's just moderation. Because of that, she was also one of the streamers that went on there. And in the video, she called Rakai bad energy. And pushing it, she did call him a Tasmanian devil. But in my perspective, the way that and I'm not giving anybody any leeway or any type of pass or anything, because that's not what this is about. I'm just giving my point of views on it. But she calls him a Tasmanian devil in the sense of, like, from the generation that we are from, Looney Tunes. Like, if you've seen the new Looney Tunes, like, cartoon, okay, Tasmanian devil, he talks like he doesn't speak, like, he just talks in that way. So when she was saying that he was in her ear talking about da 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 da, like, that does give, like, very similarity. Well, people was looking up the actual Tasmanian devil in terms of, like, the animal, which people thought that she was trying to call him ugly. I don't think she was meaning that in that sense when she was speaking about it. And y'all can look at I'll put the clips and stuff in the description as well, just so I can have a visual, because I am a visual listener, which is why I watch a lot of videos. But it was more so the sense she was talking about how he was just, like, mimicking and just kind of, like, being in her ear too much, like a fly more so is a better example of that, like, just kind of buzzing in her ear. So it was just one of those things of, like, I can see what she was saying. Like, if he was, like I said, I see him as he does give annoying little brother that they want to rage bait you before rage baiting terminology even is. They want to, push your buttons. That's just younger siblings things to do, especially if you grow up with them and y'all really have a close bond, or especially a lot of times when you're younger, they get less annoying as they get older. So that is just, like, pretty much perspective, but pretty much he did a response out of all, and the reason why I bring up everything is he did an overall response out of the whole situation and how a lot of people were, treating him and out of the MrBeast video. A lot of streamers did come to his defense, like, okay, y'all get on the kid for being a kid, and, like, him being authentic and y'all mad. But really, he was very entertaining. He was a very entertaining part of that series that a lot of people were laughing at. And he said, like, womp womp or something when Mari started crying. And a lot of people was like, oh, they didn't like that. Okay, y'all didn't like that. But at the end of the day, it is a chuckle. It's funny. She even laughed at the video. And of course, there's the YouTube video is edited in a certain way, in a certain segment, to where it is, you're not going to see all the clips, because they probably there for probably 24 hours. They went to a hotel, probably came back and all that good stuff. And you only seen like a 30 to an hour video. Like, there's a difference. So of course you're not going to see everything. But I just didn't like the way that he responded. So he pretty much, in his video, I'm just going to give you a summation. Of course, I'm going to link the video as well. He gave a summation of pretty much saying, like, I've been getting death threats. I've been getting a lot of hate, like, no hate towards those people. Like, I was just playing the game. Like, that's real. Like, he really was just playing the game. You can't be mad at how somebody is really competitive and they play the game. They play the game how they play the game. Point blank, period. It's a game. If he was, like, it'd be different if he was told, oh, you can't do that, and you did it. That's different. He was not told that he couldn't do that, and he played the game how he would play the game. That's simple. But more so, he said, oh, I've been getting death threats. My folks have been getting death threats. My mother have been getting death threats. And then in the same sentence, y'all. And I just want to put in perspective. He gets about 20,000 people watching, viewers. And you're like, oh, like 20,000 people can't watch him. No, there's enough people in the world for 20,000 people to watch him. Like I said, I'm not his demographic. But in the same sentence, you say that you get death threats, but turn around and say F you, B word to Mari. I thought you was cool. Da 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 da. You knew as a younger demographic that your audience is, and this is why I'm saying that, like, I'm not saying the content creator should be held accountable for their audience, but in this particular case, you should be held accountable for the fact that you have now directed your audience to go put hate support somebody when you literally created this video because you were getting hate? Do you see how crazy that sounds? You know, like, you are saying that you're getting death threats, so you're now setting your audience to do the same thing to other people. That's great. That's bonkers. But in the same instance, that's something that a kid would do. Like, kids say, "Oh, you mean to me, I mean to you." That is a very kid thing to do, which is why I do put into the conversation of his age, because I feel like that is a factor of the situation. So the reason that I say this is there is really an underlying issue of, like, when do we start to, and I feel like I was spending 20 minutes, but I feel like I really do have to paint the picture because y'all are listening. But the thing is, the conversation that I do want to have is, when do we start drawing the line of, like, okay, you need to reprimand? And this is not a conversation of telling people's kids what to do. That's what I'm saying. But I feel like, as somebody, like, when you see, and this is not the first instance where somebody is saying, like, hey, I understand that y'all doing what y'all doing, but, like, this ain't the space to do it. Like, as somebody watching, as a bystander, when do you say, okay, hey, for any child, hey, you don't need to be doing this, hey, like, you gonna end up in trouble, or this, that, and the third? Like, when is the right time to step in? Because I'm saying, like, he's 17. The moment he turns 18, and I've seen this as somebody who's been online just growing up in a lot of my life, because I'm a 2000s baby. I'm not gonna say what year. I'm a 2000s baby because I'll be judging. But I grew up with the internet being in my life, majority of my life. It's one of those things of, like, as soon as this baby turns 18, these folks gonna be evil. Like, it's like, oh, it's no longer in the conversation he's a child, because we can no longer present that in the conversation. He's an adult, and to the system, he's an adult. Whether or not he's 17, 18, that's still a child to me, because, and we're not even gonna get into the idea of PDF files and the fact of, like, oh, y'all, oh, like, they're 18 and you 30. Oh, that's weird. Are they 18 and you 20, you 26? That's weird to me, because there's too much of an age gap, and they too fresh, not from being not a pretty much a child, to where you should be, why you even dabbling in that. But that's a whole conversation. But my thing is like, why is your first instance to call her a B word? You have a mom. That's like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, your mom told you not to do that, because there's been another instance where he called a it's this Caucasian girl, her name's QT, Cinderella, and she hosts this, like, award show for one of the platforms called Twitch, and she asked him a very distasteful joke. I personally didn't like the joke. I didn't think it was funny. It wasn't geeky. It wasn't funny. At the end of the day, it wasn't funny. But he didn't like the joke. I mean, he had got banned for stealing on the Twitch platform. And so she asked him live, what's the coolest thing, or whatever the fun. It's been a while back. It's been a couple of months. So it's not the freshest in my mind. But long story short, she asked him something similar to, oh, what's the best thing you stole? What's the most expensive thing you stole? And he didn't like that joke. Rightfully so. I didn't like the joke either. It wasn't funny. Like, okay, at the end of the day, if you want to say, oh, it was a joke, it wasn't a funny joke. Didn't nobody laugh? Like, it wasn't funny. Yes, that was in reference to why he got banned. But the way he responded to that conversation of him saying he not liking it, he was like, oh, that B word, Well, he got a call from his mother afterwards. I don't know how much afterwards. And she said, you wrong for that. You need to apologize, Rightfully so. So I'm not blaming it on the parent, because at the end of the day, there's some people who have done some good for their kids, but their kids don't turn out the way they want to because of other influences, or the kid just the kid. Like, you can't always blame the parents for how kids turn out. And I know that's a conversation that y'all do not want to have, but that's like saying, oh yeah, like, and this is so random to bring up, but, like, for example, Jeffrey Dahmer has some very, reasonable parents. They were scientists, professors, and he still turned out to be a serial killer. Like, sometimes you just, and of course you're like, oh, he had he had mental issues. Okay, what's the difference? Like, okay, this is a similar case of, it's the same scenario. Or you have a parent who, doesn't always affect, or it doesn't always play into a factor why the kid act this way. But the reason I'm saying that, and I bring that up, is because, yes, you can say, oh, his mother should be treating him better. Do I think that as a kid, if you want your child to be on this space, I feel like he should still go to school? Yes. I don't know if he's in school, but I genuinely don't think he is. I don't think he does go to school. School does teach you social awareness and social cues. It may not teach you the education the way it needs to. Texas, I'm talking about you, born and raised. I'm talking about you. Because this literacy rate in this Texas, yeah, yeah. Bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel. The South is the bottom of the barrel. Y'all need to do better. But it is one of those things of like, school does teach you social awareness of, okay, you may want to say something and then you realize when you say that, okay, people don't want to talk to you because, okay, that's fudged up or that's this, that, and the third. And it teaches you to be mindful of how you speak to people because people react in ways that you don't expect. You know what I'm saying? So, which I'm not saying that you can't get that from homeschooling or stuff like that, but I am saying there is a difference when you are around people who are from different demographic, different cultures, and you learn how to adapt to different people because people ain't thinking like you. So I don't think like I said, I don't think he goes to school, but I'm saying if you, let me put it like this. His mother, I'm sure, is aware of the money aspect of streaming. I'm sure that she, is supporting her son and knows that he likes it. But at the same time, he's around, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned, but the Clover Boys is, another inspiration of Kai, of people that Kai Sanat, another live streamer who he's interacted with. And he's around a bunch of older people who are also considered crash outs to an extent. And if you don't know what crash outs is, it just means somebody who don't give a flying fudge. They just be saying anything, doing what they want. There's no repercussions. There is repercussions. There's always repercussions. They've been a lot of drama, a lot of issues, and a lot of things don't always go their way. You can, and especially in an online content creator hemisphere, you can lose sponsorships. You can use brands. Those things do affect you. I don't care what nobody says they do. Whether or not you still have an audience after that, that's up to you. But those things do affect you. And he's living in this house with them. So it's like monkey see, monkey do. At the end of the day, kids are sponges, which is why I do play into a part this child's age. Kids are sponges. They gonna see you do this. Okay, so-and-so doing it. That's cool. Da-da-da-da. And it's one of those things like, oh, so-and-so jump out the bridge. You jump out of the bridge too. You know how your parents be. And it's like, you know what? Some kids will say yes. They're gonna say yes. I don't care what you say. Some kids are gonna say yes. They're gonna say no because they know that's the right answer. But they're thinking yes. I'm gonna jump in their head because that's cool. That's what's trendy. That's what you do, And it's one of those things that like, okay, when it's a conversation of like, okay, there should be some type of inspiration in life, and I'm not saying that Kyle didn't realize, oh yeah, maybe I created a monster, and I'm not saying he's a monster in the sense of he not doing what's right. He's not I don't think he's a bad kid. I don't think he's an evil kid. Kid's a kid. Like, you can grow from it. For example, I show Speed, I think he goes by Speed now. He was saying some edgy, crazy stuff. I didn't watch him growing up, and he's around my similar demographic, my similar age. I didn't watch him growing up. But at the same time, it's just one of those things of like, he has grown up for it because he probably had the support and he was listening to people who he cared about that was telling him, hey, you need to stop doing this. Because there's plenty of people telling Rakai, oh, you need to watch out this and the third. And you can say, oh, he's being authentic, he's being true to himself. I do agree with that. But at the same time, you can't use the excuse of him being authentic for him to be mindful of the things that the system and life will treat him like later. Like, you want to, if these people are these, youth and stuff are important to you, you need to be mindful of who's telling you what you want to do, or making your mission. And I'm not saying, and some people were even making the argument that he's a role model. Why are you making live stream as your role model anyways? I'm gonna be honest with you. People putting people in the positions of being role models, yeah, that's on y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. What? You being dumb enough, and I'm gonna say it, you being ignorant and uneducated enough to make these certain people role models when they've never once shape, way, or form said, hey, I'm a role model. That's on you. Why are you putting these people as role models? Maybe looking up to, that's different. You can look up to somebody while not still completely respect all that they do. Like, we can be very honest about the conversation. You can look up to this person and say, oh, I like what they do, but you, at the end of the day, you do not know this person. You only know what they show you. And I feel like what he has shown a lot of people is, of course, on the more negative side of the conversation, but he's also a kid. And it's one of those things, like, he's living his childhood on the internet, which is a scary, and I don't want to say it's a scary thing, but it is a scary thing. I am somebody who is also on the internet, but I am very chronically aware as someone who also is, taking cybersecurity class and all types of stuff. they could do a lot on the internet that y'all are not aware of. And that's not no fear mongering, which just means I'm trying to scare y'all into, doing this. But it's like, I'm being very honest. There's a lot of things on the internet, which is why there's a good side of the internet and there's dark sides of the internet. Like for AI, there's good sides of AI and there's dark sides of AI. Because there are, I mean, nowadays, but growing up, there wasn't no rules and regulations for the internet. You can put whatever you want on the internet. Like, people getting murdered. Like, there was no stopping to these madness. So the idea of, like, being a child on this hemisphere of the internet, I mean, it is scary. Like, it is sad to listen to. It's sad to watch. But the conversation is like, okay, when do they stop that? And I'm not saying like, oh, this is what he needs to do right. That's what I'm saying. But I do feel like school would do some good, because it does help you interact to learn how to, okay, I can't always be loud, or I can't always do this and a third. And I'm not saying that it's always like that in school, but I am saying that there is a positive, there is a reason that school can exist for more than one reason. I'm just saying. Because it ain't education. It ain't education all the time, to be honest with you. But what I am saying, I do feel like he does need somebody that he respects. And there's a lot of kids that don't give a care about what you say. Like, for example, if somebody, like a random stranger, said, oh, you need to do better, da, 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 and my mother says, oh, you need to do better, oh, I'm listening to my mama. Why am I not listening to that stranger? I'm gonna consider it, but am I more or less likely to listen to them? Probably not. Why? Because that person don't know me. They just see me for that day and they're aware of that, which is, realistically probably how he thinks. Oh, these folks don't know me. They just listen to me for the day. If your mama say, oh, you need to do better, oh yeah, my mama knows me. My mom, in my case, my mother has raised me my entire life. My mother knows me. She knows the person I am. My mama say I need to do better. Oh baby, I'm doing better, because that's somebody who's aware of the changes that I've already made and says I'm still not doing it good. I still got some stuff I need to do. You know what I'm saying? But for example, in that same thing, people will say like, oh, well, if a stranger compliments me, like, I know it's genuine. Well, yeah, because they don't have to go out their way to do that. But if they don't know you, that's different. So here's a lot of people who don't know him and are talking about him. Of course, he brushing it off like, oh, the haters gonna hate. For real, for real. He not wrong. You have to have a form of thick skin when it comes to this internet stuff. But at the same time, somebody has to steer him in the right direction. But at the same time, somebody's gonna have to steer him in the right direction. And I don't feel like he has enough of that in his life. Or I feel, which is why I'm saying, in this particular instance, in this particular moment, I feel like it would be nice for him to kind of maybe, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, like weekend activities at the Clubberboy house, but like allow him to maybe not be there as often. Like, give him like, oh, you need to be at the house, like you need some structure, because you're not at a place with adult supervision. They're adults, but they're not mature adults. They're adults around you that are there for the, and I'm not gonna say they're not looking out for him, because I think Talio is one of them. He does have siblings, but at the same time, it's one of those things of like, y'all, it's not that he not looking at you with a sibling. He looking at you as somebody who create content with. And I mean, that's understandable to do. And it's also, y'all gonna call me out for this. It's not his job to police. But at the same time, if this is somebody that you do care about, you would help them steer in the right direction. Which is why I'm saying, like, maybe he just doesn't have that respect for the people who keep telling him what he needs to do to listen. That's like, for example, you'll see a lot of those movies of like, I can't think. It's such a common movie. Let me think. In this one particular insert, I'm thinking of the white man who go to like a quote unquote like poor district school. It's always people of color, because of course the quote unquote Caucasian man is saving them. But he basically, takes on this quote unquote demographic of like poor kids, and he's trying to put them in the right direction. And like one of the black little girls, he's like Hispanic, or there's another one, he's Hispanic, and he's like, oh, like he get into it with the gang, and then he get brought to one of the gang members' house, and the little girl was like, that's my teacher. And it was like, this your teacher right here. And he gets out of that situation. I'll put the clip for that too. He gets out of the situation because he is helping them kids. And it's not necessarily that these people in these gangs or situations want their siblings or, their, people around them to be in this situation. It's one of those things of proximity, knowing what you know. So Rakai, give him some props, has put himself in a better predicament by helping him get out of his situation. Maybe that was his only option. Maybe he didn't know what he wanted to do himself, and he got a good personality, and it's really flourished. But at the same time, you have to find some people in the corner that are looking out for you. And that don't necessarily mean that you got to pay them to do that. You need to, it's cool to have an agent, all that good stuff in your corner, but you got to have, and that goes for anything. You have to have people in your corner that love and respect for you, that tell you, hey, you not doing right. And you got to have and hear me out, you got to have a boss to be okay with somebody telling you you are not doing good. You're not doing your best. Because as somebody who knows you, they know you can do better. Or for example, similar example, when your girlfriend say, hey, that man ain't treating you right, you cannot get offensive and be like, well, why would you know? Da, 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 da. They know you. They've known you in a relationship before him. They knew in a relationship before him. I'm not saying that you dated like that. And if you did, bye, humbug. No one cares. Like, I mean, I think it's important to get your experiences by, I don't want to say dabbling with different people, but I do feel like not everybody's the same. There's so many people in this world for a reason. So it's okay to date more than one person. Especially in your 20s, you have to, you're learning yourself. You got to know who you are. And the person that you may thought you are solo is not the person that you are in a relationship. That's cool. That's okay. But it's another example of saying like, oh, this is another example of people who know me and should know me and are looking out for you because they know that this isn't what's good for you. Or for example, because he's in the online hemisphere, maybe his mother doesn't truly understand the internet, because a lot of parents really don't. Like, unless you really grew up on it. I still like my mother hates Word and presentation, all that stuff. She hates using it. She know how to use it when she needs to. But when it comes to internet, trying to hook up stuff, plug in HDMI cord, like display stuff, yeah, don't ask her to do that. Do not ask her to do that. She gonna ask me every time. And that's okay. Because she knows she has a daughter who gonna do it. She knows she has a daughter who gonna do it. I'm basically the Uber man, the delivery driver, the tech guy, all of in one. Whole time my stepdad has a degree in computer science. Why don't you ask him? Because he don't want to deal with your dumb foolery. I love mama. I get it. I love mama. But it's just one of those things of like, it's no different. You want to have people in your space that look out for you when you ain't looking out for yourself, when you're not focused on yourself, when you're so, and like right now he's like, oh, I got a bunch of people who love watching me, da da da. That's true. But do these people really care about you? And I think, especially when, I think I mentioned about like him talking, even when he does his responses, it's online. And I mentioned the difference between having these spaces for like school interactions versus online. Online, you're not getting the interaction then and there. You're not having these people in your face to where I say like, I don't like you, I don't like this. It's different. When you online, you can choose whether or not you want to tune into this or that, because you have the choice, you have the option. In school, in person, and all these in physical social interactions, you cannot do that because you are put on the spot and your brain chemistry really does change, because you can't do what you thought you was going to do or you thought how they was going to respond, because you realize not everybody thinks the way you do. Not everybody likes the things that you do and this and the third. But I think it's very important that we do consider the idea of children being children in the way their mentality works. Like in this whole situation, yes, him being competitive and, doing the little emo Fortnite dance and, having a little L in his face like you lost. That's a very child thing to do. That's a very, children aspect thing to do. I've seen plenty of kids do that to other kids. But of course, him being one of the youngest people in the room, okay, it's not gonna change. Y'all know he's a child, and I think a lot of people, because he's on the internet, they don't put that into factor. Like some of these kids really do grow up on the internet, and it does shape the way that they are. But at the same time, you do have to understand that these babies are a product of their environment. If he's not around people who are pointing him in the right direction, hopefully, my goal is hope, because Speed had people had a change of hopefully he will have a change of heart. But at the same time, you calling people B words and women B words, there's a lot of men that do that, and there's a lot of men who be wondering why women don't like them. They be doing that, and it's like, well, why are you calling women B words? Well, maybe because he has somebody in his life who was calling women B words. Like, you gotta call a spade a spade. Kids are sponges. Monkey see, monkey do. They gonna do what they see other people do. So like, you cannot be mad for the child and for which the environment is grown up, but you can be mad at the fact that the environment that he is around is kind of optional, because he's a content creator, and you've seen his mother in the picture enough to have some, like when his mother said you need to say I'm sorry, he got his act right because that's his mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that respect was instantly given because that is his mother, and he needs more people in his life. And it's like, as somebody watching as a bystander, I don't know this kid. I don't like. That's not what it's about. It's not about me knowing this kid. It's about knowing that I want this kid to go in the right direction. And he got a really good spark to him. But at the same time, and people call him annoying. Yeah, he is annoying. Okay, annoying isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that people categorize or characterize about you that is dependent on person to person. But one thing you cannot say is he's not hardworking. He's not busting his butt. He's not, passionate about what he does. He is. He's always streaming. He's always doing this stuff. And it's not, oh, and what them folks be saying? He glazing. You glazing. You glazing. Am I really glazing, or am I just calling somebody for what they are? You can call somebody and say these people are good people while also acknowledging their negative behavior. That's it. That's all. But I think like we are putting too much emphasis on all the negatives that he done and really need to focus on why he acts the way he acts. And there's people, and of course, like I said, there's people that are saying that, but it's not from the right people. And like I said, maybe his mother doesn't really understand the online hemisphere. Like she just seeing her baby and her baby telling her this and the third. Like, oh, mama, I did this today. Da 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 da. Because at the end of the day, yeah, a parent gonna support their child always. A parent that truly loves their child is always gonna support the child. At the end of the day, we can get into it, all that good stuff, but my mama gonna love me at the end of the day. I call my mama, she gonna beat her. Because that's what a parent does. That's what a parent do. But I don't know. I really do wish the best for him. And I just because like the online hemisphere, it's a little sad to watch these people, but at the same time, it's like you can't feel too bad because, sweetheart, why are you saying that? Why, like, because Mar is, I mentioned the Mar girl that he called a B word. Mar is of African American and Hispanic demographic, very similar to me. Like, oh, that's why you like her. No, I like people's personalities. I watch everybody. Like I don't discriminate. I've come from a background to where not everybody look like me, and that's cool because I don't want everybody to look like me. People that look like me and act like me, ooh, they annoying. I know they annoying because I'm annoying. Like even I can consider myself annoying. But at the same time, that I know that I'm that girl. I'm creative. I'm like it doesn't take away any of the other values that I do come and have. But it's one of those things that like you have to be mindful of like you knew that was wrong in a previous situation. Why did you do it again? Or you knew it was wrong when somebody was doing it to you. Why are you doing it to somebody else? It's one of those things like okay, you really gotta sit back and look. Okay, we gotta get together, sweetheart. You do because if you don't, especially as a black boy, they don't treat us right. As a black person, they don't treat us right. As a people of color, they don't treat us right. Like the system was never created fairly for us, and it never will be because it was always created against us. Always, it's always been. So like it was just on my mind because I really hope that he really does get steered in the right direction, and I hope that more people or at least start allowing himself to feed more people who really care about them, especially from people who are older than you, who have been in this space as long as you. The reason why it was very interesting the way he kind of handle Mari because Mari is also a younger person who's grew up in the online hemisphere and demographic who is also called annoying, who's gotten older. Of course, age does change people, but age doesn't always give maturity to people. It doesn't. Like that's like saying, oh yeah, oh he gonna get his ways together. How he gonna get his ways together when his environment is still the same? Doesn't have to change. That's like saying that, oh yeah, he gonna get out the gangs. How he gonna get out the gangs when nobody showed him that he has another option besides gangs? You know what I'm saying? So like which is why I'm saying there's really an underlying issue. And of course, I'm more focused on the African American issue because, and we can even mention the Hispanic issue. Like, okay, they may not always have like a college education, but how is he going to be able to provide a college education or get his bachelor's and all that good stuff and being the first to do it when he doesn't have the encouragement? He or she doesn't have the encouragement, or he or she doesn't realize or have like the support, or they're the first to do it. Like it's the same thing. Like if they don't have the support or this the assistance in their corner, how are they really gonna flourish and grow in maturity and levels to get there? You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I have yapped too much. But if you like what I was yapping at, please let me know in your comments. Like how y'all feeling? What are your point of views on that? It just hurts my heart seeing a demographic like people always pointing the fingers at the kids, and it's like, yeah, point the fingers at the kids because like it's one time to be a mistake. You keep doing it, it's not a mistake anymore. You know what you're doing. Because like kids are smart, but at the same time they are sponges to the product of their environment. But that always is an excuse. But it's getting to the point where he's about to be an adult. So these folks are like, and as soon as he turns 18, they will be treating him like an adult because the internet is not a safe space. It's not. It's a space. It's not a safe space. There's some safe spaces, but overall, it's not a safe space for these babies and these people and these humans. But that's pretty much it. That's all I gotta say. Yippee yapping. But like I said, if y'all like it, make sure y'all give me some ratings. If let me know, email me. I'm gonna get a business email. Let me know what I should improve of. And I'm gonna put in the bio, like, is the audio too loud? Is it jumping? I will say this one was a little tricky today because I didn't realize that I need to change my batteries for this. Guilty. But yeah, I hope you have a good morning or night. Y'all be safe. Have a good one. Toros. And y'all know how my intro of no one told you they love you, I love you. No one told you they proud of you, I'm proud of you. Most importantly, be I forgot my own intro. Embarrassing. Most importantly, stay brilliant, be safe out your surroundings because these folks are crazy. All right, bye. Oh, I'm gonna give me some outro intro music, whatever.